Hello there. The final Beatitude is another one about persecution. It reads, "Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Now let me just say that the saints, the people we know of who have sacrificed their lives for a noble ideal, for the best part, almost entirely, I think we can say that they didn't do it for a heavenly reward. They did it because they wanted to do it. They did it because that was who they were and it was the right thing to do. And yet we like to know that if there is a God or a spiritual intelligence supervising, controlling or intervening in the world in some way, don't we want to think that someone is keeping the score? I mean, if you believe in karma, then surely you believe that someone who sacrifices their life in that way enjoys some sort of reward. So here it is. You're part of a tradition. If you take the ultimate step, if you go to prison, if you endure a beating and torture, if you pay with your life, rejoice. What a thing to say, rejoice. Because you're in the finest company. You're in a wonderful tradition. And we were talking in the previous Beatitude about the kingdom of heaven being the place where the people who've been snuffed out, who've been put up against a wall and shot, the people who've been tortured, the people who have paid with their lives for bringing freedom, security, happiness, for defeating evil, those people are great in the kingdom of heaven. And just rejoice, if you have the courage to do that too, rejoice that you are in the company of such wonderful people. And it can be an inspiration for us in our own small way. When we put our head above the parapet, when we take a stand and endure just a small amount of blowback for it, when we get harassed or name called, it's okay. It's okay. It really is. Because look who else they've done that to. Now, I was once in a church service and there were a couple of visiting speakers from an organisation that advocated on behalf of persecuted Christians. And like a few of those organisations, they were really, really full on, and I thought rather aggressive towards members of other faiths. And this one guy in his presentation, at one point, he said, "Did you know that Christianity is the only religion that has love as part of it?" And I couldn't help myself. I just shouted out, what rubbish. I went and spoke to the guy afterwards, and I had to admire him in a way because he really walks the walk. He is, the people that he is advocating on behalf of, that he is trying to get released, they really need him. Yet I was uncomfortable with his whole approach. Well, if you, like me, think that we really do need to do something for persecuted Christians because there are so many in such dark places in the world, then could I recommend to you an organisation called Christian Solidarity Worldwide? I discovered them after my experience with that chap, because I wanted to find an organisation that I thought was effective in campaigning for persecuted Christians, but wasn't displaying a bad attitude towards other religions. Now, Christian Solidarity Worldwide, they're very measured. They don't say anything negative about any other faith group. And although they are focused mainly on supporting Christians in various countries around the world, now and then they also have campaigns for persecuted members of other faiths. So maybe I could encourage you to look up Christian Solidarity worldwide and see if there's something you could do, because they have all sorts of volunteer roles, and some of it is just down to writing postcards and sending them to a person in prison. Okay, we've come to the end of the 9 Beatitudes, and I just want to say that they do have this power, they do have this reach beyond the church, and one of the reasons, or perhaps the main reason for that, is that they are simple yet profound. Now, a lot of people have said some very clever things about it, and that's okay, but their power is in their simplicity, and their simplicity does not rob them of their depth. The Beatitudes are worth taking into each and every day. They're worth making part of a daily practice, meditation, whatever your faith tradition. One thing more. Notice in every Beatitude, it says, "Blessed are, for they will." It's about the now and it's about the future. Each Beatitude holds within it a tension between a world that is not yet, that is asking to be born but is in the future, and something that is right now. Something about that world that can begin immediately if you feel it in your heart and want to act on it. Don't lose those two sides to it. There have been periods in history when Christians have got so focused on it being in the future that they said, well, there's no point doing anything. This is so far off. This world is just dreadful and there's no hope, and the only way anything's going to change is thousands of years or whenever in the future when God does this miraculous thing. Don't put it all in the future. In the same way, other Christians and spiritual people in general have fallen into a trap of saying, well, there's just what we can do now. We can make ourselves feel better now. We can get a good feeling going. We can do something on a small scale. But ultimately, that's all it is. Don't lose sight, please, of the possibility that there is a better world coming. That small thing that you do in the here and now is related to that giant hope that is bigger than any of us can imagine. I want to thank you for giving me the time to listen to these. Maybe you don't agree with my interpretation, that's fine. The internet's a very big place. Go on, make your own video, and I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. That's it for now. Thank you for listening. God bless you. Goodbye.